1:30. Welcome back to Central Valley Talk. Well, it's 5 minutes past the quarter of the hour. Thank you for joining us. I'm Austin Breed. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. My next guest joining us live in our Tower District studios on this Wednesday is Gene Beck with Beck's M&T in Raymond. Hello there.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, always. I have fun here down here talking about stuff.
We've got a lot to talk about. I want to kind of give you the floor. You've got a lineup of things.
Yeah, just a scratch pad.
What's number one?
I will probably talk about water treatment in Raymond.
Okay.
And then basically it goes along with Oakhurst too.
Okay. So as we're going into summer now, what's the update? What's the change?
There's no change.
No change.
See, I've been in water for 50 years.
Right.
Water treatment. So there's really no change. In fact, I wish there was, but there isn't a lot. The people that took over the two water treatment places, they built water treatment in Oakhurst and they built one in Raymond.
Okay.
And I was trying to get into that so that I would put the right kind of water treatment system in. Well, they put in a manganese oxide unit, and if you get too much manganese oxide in your body, it makes a neurological problem.
Oh. And how many years have they been doing this?
They built that probably 3 years ago, something like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So in Raymond and at your facility, what makes you guys unique?
Well, because I'm basically there looking at things, watching things going on, and I did a couple estimates on water treatment in a couple places in this area, and I had to fight. It was one time before here, I told people about it, is I had to fight the supervisors in the county of Madera and Fresno. And so you're just battling something that you never win. So they put in these manganese oxide water plants by grants from the government. And I told them that one place in Oakhurst, I said I could put a water plant in for 48 houses for basically building and everything, $500,000. Well, they take $6 to $12 million from the state and build these manganese oxides, and I've always pushed, and everybody else that is a good water treatment plant uses reverse osmosis. That's basically a plastic membrane. And it works really good, has been working good forever. So why go past something that doesn't take chemicals and it cleans the water? So since they put in this manganese oxide unit, it's supposed to take out the arsenic and the cyanide. And mainly arsenic is what they're trying to do. Well, as soon as I knew they had their unit running properly, I took a sample because I can send it to a medical lab facility to test it. They weren't taking anything out. But through all my life, I've seen this go on continuously behind everybody's back. And so it's not a nice thing. And I kind of chuckled a little bit. Everybody in Raymond says, "Why don't you do something about it?" And I said, "You can't fight people that got all kinds of money, and they have backing by the people that they made better by doing certain things for them. So you can't fight that. It's you just unless you got more money than they got." So when they put these manganese oxides in, got it running. Like I say, I took a sample when I knew it was running right, and it wasn't, at that time, it wasn't taking hardly anything out. And then just about 6 months ago, they had an issue up there at that plant. And they hauled away, by the description of one of my relatives, they hauled away all kinds of heavy stuff that I would consider it was the bedding for the water treatment, being the manganese oxide. I think hauled it away. And basically they use water to take care of this manganese oxide, fluff it up and everything and regenerate it. They use acids. They have to keep the water. They don't tell anybody what they're going to do with that water because it has to go to basically a place like Kettleman. Mm-hmm. Well, they've never hauled any water out of there. They dump it in the street.
Wow.
I mean, they dump so much water down in the street below that it's gonna cause a wreck one of these days. Well, in between that 6 months ago, they hauled away all this manganese oxide just because my friend was looking at it and I told him what to look for.
Yeah.
And I know what happened because I've dealt with bedding material. If you don't keep it sterilized, the bedding material, it'll start growing stuff. So what they did is they didn't take care of it good enough, and they had to tear out all the bedding material, send it off to Kettleman, most likely, and sterilize everything. And that a lot of times may take a month before you get anything going back again. I haven't seen any manganese oxide come back yet. So,
not happening, huh?
and the water's just as bad or worse than it ever was.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So people ask me, "Oh, is city water good to drink?" And I said, "No," because it doesn't run through a big water plant. Right. It runs through a big water plant, and it's basically a reverse osmosis. A lot of the big cities use reverse osmosis plastic membrane, and their water is good. But they most likely blend some of it anyway, so you're going to have a few impurities, but a lot of us find out that our body is pretty resilient. But that's the scoop on that one.
Well, and I mean, I know so many people just in Fresno that refuses to drink tap water.
Oh, I don't blame them.
You know, my wife is one of those.
They just have to call me and ask me about it, because you can go on the state. Well, this is what they do. Anyway, they have to put reports in once a month, or it's about at the minimal 6 months every time. They need to put a test of the water and the results and make it public wise. Well, I used to work in Santa Maria under the medical field, mm-hmm. because I was qualified to run medical field because I built the water plant and run it because it had to be 99% pure water. So we watched the things that went on with even the state water and stuff. It's bad news. And what they do is if you have a real bad well, they turn it off and they run the other ones until they feel that they can take a sample.
Oh my gosh.
But this goes on. This still goes on in the normal public,
right,
all the time. But nobody talks about it because they're afraid somebody might come up and do them in. So, mm-hmm. So I've been there enough times, so I don't worry. Yeah. And I don't have the money, so they don't fight me.
Right.
They don't even want to. They just push it off.
Push it off. But I mean, this interview and the interviews that you've done on Central Valley Talk at least gets the word out about some of the gross situations. That's all I can say.
Oh yeah. Well, and as far as I know, they haven't got their water system back online, and it wasn't doing much even when they had it online. Mm-hmm. So. Mm-hmm. And we could have had at least 90% pure water if I'd been able to put a big reverse osmosis skid in the building up there and run it. But
Here we are.
yeah, so it's a battle. It's a battle.
What else do we want to talk about?
Well, I watch different things on TV, and a lot of times they'll run these. This is one of the things I did a report on and a lecture down south in Anaheim one time. It was underwater treatment. And one of them, the thing was to do with fluoride. They put fluoride in the water because they get paid to put it in there.
And who is that by?
Well, I don't usually say what
Okay.
organization. I try to keep things
Keep it PG.
but you can look. If somebody's curious, they'll look it up.
Okay.
And the thing is, fluoride is a like I've told before, it is a byproduct of heavy metals, and they can't get rid of this stuff. So they made some good issues with a organization to get rid of this stuff for them, and they would pay them millions of dollars. So then they turn around and they pay the cities millions, probably millions of dollars too, on top of putting a building in and equipment to get rid of this stuff, because they can't get rid of it. It costs too much to take it to this, say, Kettleman or something.
It's not worth it.
No. So they put it in the water and say it's good for you. But it's not. It's what I tell everybody, it's like drinking mercury, because fluoride does not, it gets into the kidneys and it will not flush it out. And
It won't.
No. And one of the lectures that I had down south, I come across out of 64 operators from California and Nevada, four or five of them came up to me and says, "We hate playing with that stuff because it comes in a 25-pound flour sack." I said, "I don't blame you, because years ago, if you had any of that powder fall on you, they write you off and send you home. It's that bad. Send you home to go die." So
It is what it is.
yeah, it's really nasty stuff. So I agree. Don't have fluoride mouthwashing from your dentist.
Yeah.
Whatever he says.
Yeah.
And at least there's a few people that come out and talk about
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. I have heard those people.
Yeah.
We've got about 3 minutes left.
Okay.
What else?
Oh, I was going to talk about something I was going to talk about. I should have talked about it in December before everybody made up their mind about things. But in 2015, this movement called Jade Helm was in the background. Nobody kind of knew exactly what was going on, but they saw a lot of military equipment going into Mojave Desert. So I was coming back from a water treatment seminar from Nevada, Las Vegas, and I went by there to look to see if this rumor was true.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went by the Air Force base down there, and there was rows and rows and rows of brand new military equipment. And while I was heading there, I stopped at it was a little grocery store. And I look over there at the street, and here's one of our trucks, military trucks, parked there. 4 guys standing out there talking Russian. And they have their Russian military equipment on, not ours. And then about that time, I had heard about this too. Another one of our covered trucks went by with a Chinese flag on it.
What?
Yeah, well, that's what I thought too. I said, "Holy, you know what? So I said, this is true. This is what's going on. And I know they did their push to go into Texas and take over Texas as a military takeover. And then they were going to hit California. And I thought, wow, this has got to be nuts. But here I look and I see the whole thing to myself. Here's Chinese people running our trucks, Russian people running our trucks. They're in their military outfits. What in the world? Why are they here? And what are they doing with our equipment? So then I listened and watched the news, and you know how the news is. You can't really find out what's going on.
No, you can't without
So
a slant.
now, since I even told Mike about stuff, if you look it up and you look up the right article, and I've seen articles disappear after I talk about it, especially on fluoride and frying pans. It's nonstick. Don't believe it's good for you. So anyway, when I went and looked at this article, then it made sense because I know they went into 2 cities in Texas, and all of a sudden it kind of dissolved. And I thought, what went on, you know? Well, in this article that I read like 4 or 5 months ago, because I dug it up and just it come up in my brain about Jade Helm, it says right in there, the reason why they went into these 2 cities, the 2 mayors knew it was coming, and they called in the National Guard. And it halted the whole thing right there. They made some kind of agreement, turned around and left, and everything disappeared. So, at the end of this article, it says the former CIA director says, well, being they weren't able to do it in a military takeover, they're going to do it through election. And it says right at the bottom of this. And this is a quote from him. So guess what? You can take your assumption and just look it up.
That's a trip. I want to find that article.
Well, I had the Teflon pans,
That too.
and I gave it out to all these operators. It totally disappeared off of Wikipedia. So I went ahead and sent it all out to them, the one I printed out. So these articles disappear in a big hurry when there's too many hits on finding them.
Right. Wow. All right.
So I just hope everybody opens their eyes and really looks for the real truth.
Do your research.
Yep.
Do your investigations. Don't rely on anybody else to do it.
No.
Other than Gene here. Beck's MNT in Raymond. What's your shop number?
Shop number's 559-689-3800. I need to put the recorder back on there and everything. The best way to get a hold of me is cell phone.
And that's 805-478-4003?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, Gene, come back. We'll talk. We'll talk again. I feel like we should have a segment called, Gene's View.
Well, I just like the people to open their eyes
right.
and have to see it directly. Now, I read all this stuff on Helm, and I thought kind of foo-fooed it. But I happened to go by there coming back.
That's crazy.
And I saw it, and I thought, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So can't always get true information.
Exactly.
Maybe later.
Right, yeah. But then it'll disappear, so.
Yeah, probably.
All right, very good. Good to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, too.
All right, you're watching Central Valley Talk. We're back with another live local guest coming up in just a bit. Don't go anywhere.